All right. So this is just like what the quiz is going to look like. Every single one of them that wants an equation of a line is talking about slope-intercept form. So we want all these equations today in slope-intercept form. What is slope-intercept form? Y equals. And what two things do you need to write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form? You need M and B. You need a slope and the y-intercept, right? So we should not miss problem number 1. What did problem number 1 give us? It gave us the slope and the y-intercept. Okay? So all you have to do is plug in the M to the M spot and the B to the B spot. Okay? So y equals, what's our M? 2/3. X, and what's our B? -5. And there's your answer to number 1. Please do not miss number 1. Okay? 10 questions means 10 points apiece. Don't miss number 1. It's that easy. Does anybody have a question on that? All right, number 2 is going to give you a graph, and you have to come up with the equation for the line with the graph given to you. So first you're going to look for the what? Y-intercept, right? And that's going to be your B. So where your graph is crossing the y-axis will be your B. So where is this one crossing the y-axis? At -2. So B is -2. If they give you a graph, how can you find the slope? Rise over run. So you're going to start with your point on the left, which is the y-intercept. Does this one go up or down from left to right? Up how many spaces? 2. And it runs to the right how many? 1. So 2 over 1 reduces to 2. Hint, hint, hint on your quiz. Reduce your fraction. Hint, hint, hint. Okay? All right, so we got slope and we got y-intercept. So what's our equation of this line?
Y equals
2x minus 2. Any questions about number 2? All right, anytime y'all have a question, stop me right then, okay? I'll be more than glad to help you give another example or whatever I need to do. All right, the next one gives us function values instead of ordered pairs. Is that going to freak us out too much? It should not, because they go in the same order, x and then y. So the function at 0 equals 5, and the function at 2 equals 6. What are those ordered pairs?
0.
Okay. 0, 5, and 6. So if you need to rewrite them in ordered pairs, they go in order, x and y both times. All right, so we need what two things to write the equation of a line? M and B. Did they give me either one of those?
Yes.
They actually gave me which one?
B.
The B, because they told me it crosses 0, 5. Right? So that is my B. So anytime you have a 0 for your x value, that y coordinate that goes with it is your B. So what do we have to find now? The slope. And we're going to use our formula. So M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What is y2?
6.
Minus over minus 0. Now, guys, if you try to do your slope in your head and you miss it and you didn't show me any work, I can't give you any partial credit. Okay? But if you just miss added or subtracted, I will only count off a few points if I see your work. If I don't see this, I'm not going to be very generous. Got it? Okay? So if you want more credit, show more work. All right, so what is 6 minus 5?
1.
What's 2 minus 0?
2.
And that is 1/2, right?
Yes.
And it will not reduce anymore. So I've got M and I've got B. So what's the equation for this line? Very good. So look and see if they give you a B in one of the points, okay? Any questions about that? This time, on number 4, what did they give you? Slope. So which one do you have to find? You got to get the y-intercept. You got to get B. How do you do that? Into what? Yes. Then you're going to use y equals mx plus b. Remember, if they give you an ordered pair, they give you the x and the y. Okay? So what goes in for y for this coordinate? What goes in for m? X. And then plus b. So what is 7 times 3? So negative 4 equals 21 plus b. And how do we solve that equation for b? And what is negative 4 minus 21? Do I have m and b? So what's my equation?
Y equals 7x minus 1.
Any questions on that? Okay. Look at number 5. What two things do I need? M and B. Did they give me either one?
No.
No. So if they don't give you either one, which one do you need to find first? Can you find B without finding M?
No, you got M first.
You got to have M because you got to have something plug in the M spot in y equals mx plus b. So we're going to use our formula for slope. What's y2? Minus over minus. So this one has a lot of places where you can miss a sign and misadd or subtract. So make sure you show me that step, please. So what is negative 6 minus 3? And that makes negative 5 plus 2, which is what? Negative 3. And what does that reduce to? So there's our M. And then we got to get our B. How do we get that? Okay. What happens when you have two coordinates? You choose one. It doesn't matter which one. Choose one. Y'all want to do the first one or the second? Okay. So if I use the first one, what goes in for Y? What goes in for M?
Negative 2. Or 3.
3. What's X? What's 3 times negative 2? So 3 equals negative 6 plus B. How do I solve that for B? And what's 3 plus 6?
9.
And I got M and I have B, so what's this equation? Minus 9? Plus 9. It's positive. All right, any questions about that if they don't give you either one? All right, this next problem, same thing, but they give you function values instead. So this f of 3 equals 9. What ordered pair is that?
3, 9.
3, 9. And what ordered pair is this?
Negative 7, 4.
So then you do the same thing as we did on number 5. So do I need to do that again? Does anybody need to see another one? Okay. Then we will move on. All right, then we get into our parallel and perpendicular. Okay. So what do we know about parallel lines?
They have to have the same slope.
The same slope. Okay, so if I know the slope of one line, then I know what our slope needs to be. So this one we want to go through the point 54 and be parallel to the line y equals 3x plus 2. First, we want to make sure that their line is in slope-intercept form, is it?
Yes.
And what's their slope?
3.
Their slope is 3. And if our line needs to be parallel to their line, then our slope needs to be what?
3.
Also 3. And then we use this for our x and y to get our b, and y equals mx plus b. Any questions about that so far? Parallel lines, we need the same exact slope. So if I use the point 54, what's my y?
4.
What's m?
3.
X?
5.
Okay, and what is 3 times 5?
15.
And how do I solve that for b?
Subtract 15 on both sides.
And what's 4 minus 15?
Negative 1.
So there's m and b, so y equals what?
3.
And again, make sure that your slopes are the same. We got a 3 and a 3. So parallel lines, you need the same exact slope. This next question says, which lines are parallel? And it gives you 3 different equations. So how do you determine which of those 3 lines are parallel to each other?
Find their slope.
Find their slopes, right? How do we find their slopes?
Y equals mx plus b.
Right, make them look like y equals mx plus b. Very good. So how do I get the first one in slope-intercept form?
Subtract x. Oh, yeah,
They subtract, so we're going to add x. So that's 2y equals, I'm going to put a 1x because I'm going to have to divide, plus 3. And then what do I do?
divide by 2.
Divide everything by 2. And what is y equals 1/2? x plus 3 over 2. So what's the slope of the first line? 1/2. Okay. Is the second line in slope-intercept form? Yes. What's its slope then?
-2.
-2. Are the first two parallel to each other? In fact, what are they?
Perpendicular.
They are perpendicular. Did it ask for perpendicular?
No.
No, so I really don't care. Okay? Because we're just asking if they're parallel. So let's see if the third line is parallel to one of the other two. And it should be because it says which lines are parallel. So it assumes that at least two lines are parallel. So how do I get this one in slope-intercept form? Yeah. So y equals what? And what's the slope of that line then? So which lines are parallel to each other? Right. So it says circle them. So circle the original equations, and we're good. Did I have to show work?
Yeah.
I did. Now the middle one I really didn't, but the two on the ends I did. So get them in slope-intercept form, find the slopes. Is everybody good on a problem like this? Does this make sense to everybody? Okay. The last thing you'll have to do on your quiz is write an equation of a perpendicular line. So what do you know about perpendicular lines equations?
Opposite.
Not just opposites.
Opposite reciprocal.
They have opposite reciprocal slope. So is their equation in slope-intercept form?
Yeah.
Yes, and their slope is what?
3.
3. How do I get the opposite reciprocal of 3?
Negative and put a 1 on there.
Right, you flip it, change the sign. So put 3 over 1, flip it, change the sign. What do I get for our slope?
-1/3.
-1/3. Are there any questions about why -1/3 will be our slope? Does everybody understand that? Everybody good? And if it's a whole number, put a 1 there. Okay. So y equals mx plus b. What goes in for y? What goes in for m?
-1/3.
What goes in for x? What's -1/3 times -12?
4.
And then how do I solve that for b?
Not 4.
And what's 2 minus 4?
-2.
All right. What's the equation of my perpendicular line?
Y equals -1/3 x minus 2.
Any question about that one? Do we need to do one more slope, a perpendicular equation? Can y'all at least tell me what the slope's going to be?
4.
Yeah, their slope is -1/4. And if we're perpendicular to that one, what does our slope need to be? Flip it, change sign, you get 4/1, which is 4. Do I need to finish solving it, or are we good? We're good? Or do y'all want me to finish? I'm with you. I hate leaving it unfinished. I am so with you. Y equals mx plus b. What's our y?
1.
What's slope?
4.
X. 4 times 2. What do I do now? 1 minus 8 is?
-7.
All right. What's my equation then?
Y equals.
All right. Any questions about how to write equations of perpendicular lines? All right. I think we are ready for our quiz.